Check us out, Facebook, YouTube, and Joe Boy's great website. Thank you, Joe Boy.
Guys, thank you guys for being on the show.
Excellent, guys. Thank you.
Yes.
God, you know that 30 minutes goes so frigging fast.
Okay,
It did.
hold on. I've got to
It
put
did.
in the Zoom people. You guys are killing me.
He's going to put the Zoom people in.
Why? What happened?
All right.
We were talking.
We were here.
We'll beat them up already.
job, I must say. Jeff did a great job.
We got some reaction today.
Bob, you needed to cut off a little bit of the left.
What about the horse tranquilizer, Bill?
Hold on, everyone. Can the
It's
Zoom
been
hear?
debunked, right?
I don't remember that, but the one that was coming to mind is, I mean, in the lead up to the last election, the offensive shirts, the F Trump shirts I was seeing all over in 2020,
Okay.
2016.
Okay,
Can
hold
we
on.
verify that the Zoom
Is the Zoom
people
on
can
now?
hear us?
Yes,
we need
we
to
can
let
hear
the
you.
Zoom go and
Yes,
take
we
us
can
apart
hear
for
you.
what we didn't say. Then y'all will get to jump in again.
So, should we start off with Monica?
We
I
got
think
to.
we got to start with Monica.
She's
She
about
was
to-
waving her arms and doing all sorts of stuff. All I
No,
can see her
you're-
saying her thing. I got to hear what she had to say. Monica,
You're doing good.
tell us off. Tell us what's going on.
First of all, let me say hello to Jeff Nolan, one of my most favorite people on the planet. And Jeff, I'm like messaging your wife. Your husband's here. He's awesome.
No way.
Anyway, so I'll try to be quick. The first thing I want to say is I'm sorry, I don't remember the gentleman down on, for me, he's in the bottom right. He
Drake?
mentioned about education. Education is the primary thing. We as in a society, our education system is failing our students on reading comprehension and critical thinking, number one. Bill had mentioned the sources that he views, and he said they also link to the original source or whatever. The challenge with that is that even the original source may be what we call a secondary informational source. And therefore, even their information is not the primary authoritative source on what that information is about. So you may still not be getting everything that you should. So I really think.
No, well, there's,
people
no, I
need
said
to
the Free
understand-
Republic. Yeah, no, I said Free Republic links to the original articles.
Yeah.
Now, when I talk about original sources, I'm talking about court documents, I'm talking about
Oh,
studies,
okay. All right.
I'm
so
talking
that's
about the
important.
actual first,
Yeah.
primary
Hey,
resource.
Monica, I
Yeah,
do
that's
want to
important.
tell you though, Drake is already going to be on the education panel too when we can book it. And you just said
Awesome.
you wanted to be on the
I
panel
want to be on that
also.
one too, for
And
sure.
so I really appreciate when people say, I'd like to be on this panel. So Drake will be on that. So you'll be on opposite sides on this one.
Okay, now Steve, I know he's itching.
Steve.
Steve's itching.
Yeah,
Tell us,
very
Steve, tell us
simple.
about it.
60 years ago, somebody told me advice that basically said, if anyone ever tells you that some person, place, or thing is nothing but bad or nothing but good, that person is not credible who says that. And that's the problem that I see in these networks. It's all good or all bad, one side or the other, and it's kind of ridiculous. And I told my kids the same thing. Anybody ever starts in with, they're all bad or such and such is all good, don't believe them. They've
Yeah,
lost
well, we
their
kind of got
ability
it
of
as the
reading.
basics of the show here, Steve, that there is another side to everything.
Steve-
That's brilliant. We got Peter Gallo on. Is that
Well,
Peter?
Peter's on there. He's not ready to, he's not unmuted yet. But Steve, back in the old days when you were using a radio with a crank, was the media fair and balanced then?
More so than now.
And
When
is
I
Peter
have to go to
unmuted?
the
Peter's now
BBC
unmuted. Peter, go. Tell us.
Tell us.
What do you want me to say?
What do you
Do I
think?
believe that there's bias in the media? God, of course not. I believe absolutely everything that the Communist News Network tells me as a matter of religious faith. Anything else?
Oh, he's talking about CNN.
it's,
They're not
It-
perfect, but they're better than what we have.
In what way is CNN
BBC.
communist? He said Communist News Network. I'm just going with the letters, the acronym.
At least CNN
there's
has
a-
bring
there's
they
a
bring
quotation, I
other
can't
people
remember
on
who-
the news, you know.
I'm pretty sure
There's
it's
a
a
quotation, I
for-profit
can't
company.
remember who it was that said that
I was taking a joke in the
if
letters.
you do not read the news, you're uninformed. But if you do read the news, you're misinformed. And I put a lot of weight on that.
All right.
You know, there's a reason why we love hearing from Peter Gallo. Peter Gallo, awesome. Always good to see you. Mr. Sasha, I see. Is that Sasha there?
Yeah.
That's me, Joe.
Hey, tell us what you think.
Well, I was talking to Bob earlier today after our lunch at the Rotary. The bias is the sideshow. Everybody's biased. You find one person in this world who's not biased, or one organization or one social structure, you name it, you'll win the Nobel Prize for ingenuity. There is no such thing as a total absence of bias. And the problem we have with the media is not the bias. The bias is the sideshow. The problem is what Peter mentioned earlier, misinformation, and also malicious, purposeful disinformation. And I think one of the panelists mentioned earlier, I think it was Jeff, the Dominion Systems versus Fox News. It was a question of malicious, purposeful disinformation, which drove people to
Exactly.
to actually click or watch that particular source of information for a particular purpose. So we also have lots of foreign actors in the media who have been identified, have been prosecuted, have been investigated, and they're proven to affect the way we think and we act in society for years. I mean, look at the Oxford Analytica case, the Facebook case.
Hey, Sasso, let me ask you a
Sure.
question. You've obviously lived in other countries, and so has Peter. So I guess I place this to y'all. Is the media bias any different where you're from?
I mean, everything's biased, Bob. I mean, that's how I started this. When I 2 minutes ago, everything is biased. But the bias is not the issue. You're
I guess
looking.
they talk about it elsewhere.
The
It seems
bias
like in
is
our
the
country,
bias
we're-
is a red herring.
That's good point.
Okay, we also have Mr. Gary. Gary's on here. Gary, I know you have an opinion. I don't remember meeting Mr. Gary. It could be because I'm old and gray and I forget things. But Gary, what's your opinions?
Well, he's old and gray too.
Yeah.
What's Gunner? It's Gary
You try to
Gunner.
get Gary to talk.
Gary just was trying to listen and learn a lot of things. And I'm listening and I'm trying to get all the viewpoints. And it's a very interesting show. There is a lot of bias in the media from both sides. And I'm very aware of it. I've picked one, but I'm not, not going to tell you which one it is, even though I got a blue shirt on. That doesn't mean anything. Most everybody else does too. But very interesting show. And I'm trying to learn before I talk and make myself not look as smart.
Well, we
I-
definitely need someone here with your accent. I mean, we've got Peter's Scottish accent. We've got Sassos from Macedonia. Now we've got you, right? That we've got your accent. We need that. We need to
Hey,
be well
Bob,
rounded.
can I just
Right.
really quick throw one more thing in there? And I think it's
Please.
important to not, use the terms interchangeably, but the news and the media are not the same thing. The news is a form of media, right?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then more importantly, in your email, you mentioned Walter Cronkite. He was a journalist, an actual journalist. These idiots out here now are just spewing their opinions. And that's why I agree
Reading
with
the
Jeff,
script.
Bill had said, well, that's censorship. I'm all for have your opinion. We're not going to always agree. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is you providing false information. If you're gonna have an opinion, it should be based on facts, right? And so
Thank you.
we're calling people who are out here with very hateful spirits and spewing their commentary. If you look up the people that were named in the email, they were political commentary, that not one of them is labeled a journalist. A journalist will look for both sides. The journalist will look for what the actual story is. And I think that is really what's missing if we're going to talk about news. But
Well, that's
as
certainly
far
the
as that,
ideal, Monica.
everything else is like
Yeah.
you guys said, it's entertainment. It's for money.
Yeah, the ideal for isn't that what they teach you in journalism school? Ted, you actually went to journalism
Right.
school, didn't you?
I didn't go to J school. I was an English major, but I went and started working for newspapers right away. No, they
Right.
teach you that they teach you to have a reasonable outlook on what is the point. And now I've had many people come up to me and say most slanderous things about people, and it's just, it's just their personal opinion. Maybe they're trying to get back at something. Maybe they're upset that something happened to their kid, and they want to get back at it. And when you check it out, you realize that it falls apart real fast. The problem with that is that in today's world, things just get said and posted, and there's no recourse. In my day, there was a publisher. If I said something wrong and was ruled to have defamed someone, the paper was going to pay, and I was going to get fired. So that's what's changed.
There's no accountability.
No
We
accountability.
also have Don Thomas in the room. Don Thomas, I
Hey!
know you have an opinion. You're sitting there, you're quiet the whole time. Tell me what you think, Don.
I wasn't quiet the whole time, but the biggest thing I think with all this media and all the bias on the information is that we didn't talk about too much of the threats of people's lives, property, and the law, our law enforcement that has been the victims of all this bias and media information and all the lies, like the two black women in Georgia. They had to move, They had to move out of their house. They had to move, and some judges out now, right? They have to move out of their homes. Some of the law enforcement people just doing their job. You can't even do your job anymore because this bias has gotten so out of hand. People start believing it, and like we had something on Monday where we talked about being attached to things, and people just attach themselves to a story that may not be true, and they start acting it out, and that's I think where the danger of the misinformation and media bias is taking over, because you can listen to the news, but back in the day, we didn't have people threatening people's houses and homes and trying to threaten to kill them because somebody heard something on the news. So I think that's the biggest problem that we have.
That's definitely a problem, Donald, but to counter that a little bit is, as an adult, you should be doing your due diligence to research that information. So yes, I'm 100% with what you and Ted are saying as far as incorrect information and no accountability for it. But at the same time, we're adults. Did we not get education and learn how to do a report? And so if you're that upset about something and you're acting like a complete jerk, go do your research, find a legitimate source so you can get the accurate information before you're all up in arms about something that's not even accurate. So I put it's probably 50-50. Let's be fair. I'll do 50-50. 50% of the viewer and 50% of the person providing the information. And maybe that's not even fair. It might be more 60-40, because to Ted's point, if you are the person providing that information, you are positioning yourself as a subject matter expert or the authority potentially on this matter. People are going to listen to you. So the fact that you hold that position, you owe the public the right to provide factual information. But as an adult who's out here working and paying bills, go research.
Right. Well, this was the education what Drake was talking about. The education comes in. Where I think the lack of education. This is a quick thing. When I was on the school newspaper, they had, even in the school newspaper, you couldn't be biased on the school newspaper or the school yearbook. You had to be on both sides of talking to some of the students and getting pictures. And at the end of the day, we would all talk about, okay, we can't be one-sided. We have to be there for everybody. So
no, because you're representing.
What's happened now? What's happened now is that with so much of media is visual, And now with the iPhones having editing capabilities, we see images of Biden on Fox look like he's walking away and just plodding along. And it
Get
turns out he's walking over to shake a hand of a paratrooper, or he's trying to sit down. He wasn't sure. And it's all made to make him look bad. And that's manipulation. Yeah, everybody laughs.
Yeah,
Wow.
you're right.
Well, we
Nope.
made it. We made it 50 minutes without somebody actually jumping in there and ruining the show by mentioning one of those horrible.
Yeah, but
political-
look,
The problem with- Yeah, but see, the problem with liberals and journalists is they just know so much that isn't so.
Not,
No,
Bob, that's
Ted.
not fair to Ted, because the only reason he mentioned that particular person's name is because he was just
Describing.
used it as an example of the story that was presented and not as one of the, people on,
Actual issues.
Right.
Don't believe your lying eyes.
just saying.
I've been around for a small amount of time in this world, but I'm old and gray now. And I will tell you one thing is I've been working to teach my son about journalism. Back in my day, we had to, when I used to run Stringer and I run a camera and stuff, I used to have to go to the police department and get a press pass. So you have to prove your credentials, see what reporting agency you're working with. Hey, I'm working with Channel 9, Channel 6, that's the other. And then they would give you a press pass. And that would show you have integrity with the news. You are a journalist. I'm filming for journalistic reasons, or I'm writing for journalistic reasons. You'd have to prove that you were in the press. I'm trying to teach my son to do that level of quality and that level of professionalism. He runs a show. He tries to be correct and to look at both sides of every single situation. That needs to be gotten back to. So right now, anyone who has a cell phone can be called a journalist. They're not,
Right.
but we don't have credentials anymore. We don't have a reporting agency. And I'll admit, I now run my son's show, so I get to wear a director's badge and I get to hold my camera and say, yeah, I'm a journalist. And it gets me into a lot of cool places I couldn't get into earlier. Back when I was doing Stringer work, I could get in a lot of places and I can't now. But now anyone who's got a website is considered a journalist. So that is going to change a lot. It grades for a lot more opinion work, and that's going to allow for more bias and not less. I think we should be able to have an official badge or a press badge that people can apply for and have to pay for, and therefore kind of build that, you know what? This is what we're looking for. This is where
I
we're gonna
gotta
take it back
disagree
to
with
the-
you on that, because what you're talking about is setting up again a clearance shop that determines who can be in the club and who cannot be. And unfortunately, particularly in the journalistic field, it does tend to be very left leaning, and it's very, very tough for a conservative to get their toe in the door. And the same
I
is
didn't
true
say
in the
the press
education
pass had to be
fields right now.
expensive.
Wait,
I
wait, wait, no.
disagree with that, Bill.
It could be
I
20
completely
bucks.
disagree with that.
Forget about all that. No, you can't have an expense on a press pass because, I mean, doesn't that
$20 anyone can
infringe
afford.
on our
Those who
constitutional
can't afford
rights?
are the ones that are
Doesn't that
trying
infringe
to
on our
cause
constitutional
problems.
rights just right there?
As,
though?
as someone who used to work in the industry, there are two things that a press pass did. It let you into the event and it justified why you're there. And you couldn't be removed if you're doing your job the right way. That was the key thing. The problem in the world, like
voter
ID, is that you have press on your chest, and then it makes some
Mr.
people lower
Joe.
the sights to that word on your chest and fire the gun. Journalists are killed all the time all over the
It's
world
Mr. Joe.
for a variety of reasons, and it's very sad. And again, it limits our access to information.
And
You know,
you're- and
Ted
camera
said
and a
something a
badge
couple.
don't make you a journalist, because the same people who are getting access can take that same information, that same footage, and spin it to whichever bias or whichever side they choose. So just because you have access to information does not make, and because you provide information does not make you a journalist. You need to do research. You need, half these people out here with websites, all they do is read an article and spew their opinion. That does not make you a journalist, right?
Well, and I think you'll also find that a lot of the people who want to say that there should be this anarchic democratization of journalism would be the first people to rail against that if you said that relative to the electorate of the United States.
More than
You know what I'm
likely.
saying?
No.
Oh, you right. Okay, so Bill, you said that there's there's these gatekeepers and conservatives can't get into media, which frankly I don't agree with. But
That's not true.
the
That's not true.
if you if you think that everybody with a phone should be able to be a journalist and all voices should be heard, do you also agree that the United States should be a direct democracy instead of representative?
Well, they're two different things. One,
Republic.
you're talking about, I would compare it more, you're comparing apples and oranges. On the one hand, what we're talking about is journalism's a business. I think we would agree on that. And you don't limit access to, anybody can go down and start a business. As a sole proprietor, you get started, you can start from right in your home, just like you can in journalism. That's what I'm talking about. As opposed to, say, comparing that to the Electoral College and our nation as a representative republic, they're two different things.
Okay, back to the point is the visualization of journalism today, everything has to be visual, is that in the printed world, you had to do investigations. You had to have sources that you can show that you spoke to people. This is what they said. And back to your point, Bill, you're not given a job because you lean left or you lean right. You're given a job because you have a knack for finding out facts, getting people to talk, finding research, and then creating it in a way that makes it interesting and probably to the size or the length as needed. That's the skill. It's not whether or not you lean left. I mean, I know the most
No, but
right-wing
Ted,
people I know.
Yeah.
Ted, I'm going to have to slightly disagree with you that because I do
Yeah.
know a lot of people that work for different news agencies, and even they're complaining, going, "Listen, half my stories are being cut because it doesn't fit the narrative that the ownership wants."
That,
So
or
I'm
they
saying
feel
my
it.
stories are getting cut.
That doesn't mean
Right?
it doesn't.
I write, they're getting cut, and they go, "Why am I showing up?"
And I would bet that if you talk to the owners of those stations, they said the exact opposite. They said the opposite.
Yeah.
They said, this journalist is coming to me with these biased pieces, and I'm not running.
No, I think, Bill Boy, I
well-
think it goes back to the point where maybe the publisher or the editor feels it doesn't meet our market needs. Again, it goes back to the dollar bill. That may be whether, and it seems like they're not left or right.
Hey, Ted,
So-
let me cut in a little bit. I didn't hear from the peanut gallery on what can we do about this, and should people actually try to search out more sides? Don, I know you believe that. You've already started to. You're kind of going through this thing with us by building this show up and recognizing that you're not hearing everything, right?
Yeah, pretty
I-
much. I mean, that's why I'm doing the show. I'm pretty aware of that there's another side, and that started when I was the president of the union. I had both sides, Republican and Democrat, and people coming in, so I had to listen to everybody. It was a shocker for me because I was one-sided, but I had to exercise that muscle of listening to the other side of everybody.
Run around. Yeah, 'cause-
I think it's really been good, Bob. Enough's enough, though. We got 2 hours to get ready to hear, the
Oh,
bias
don't
and
worry. Yeah, I know.
overreaction.
What do you got to do? What do you got to do? Start making the popcorn or what?
Popcorn.
That's
Alcohol.
Corn
what
and drink.
everybody says. They're going to make popcorn, and it's,
Okay,
you know.
here's a quick question for the
It's
people
open
on
mic
Zoom.
comedy
Not for
tonight.
all the people that are on the show, but the people on Zoom, what is your favorite, what you feel is the least biased media or newspaper or news channel that you prefer to watch? Just leave out the name, not a reason why, but we just want to know what everyone's watching and where they're getting their news from.
Leave
So,
leave out the
let's go-
name? What do you
Just
mean
No,
leave
no,
out
no.
the
We want the
name?
name.
We want the name. Steve, why don't you tell us what do you watch?
I already said it, even though having lived in Britain, I kind of resented a lot of things that the Brits implied about America. And I've lived there twice, but I still have become more reliant on the BBC for international news than on our own
Okay,
network.
BBC. for
BBC,
Steve.
excellent. Sasha, what about you?
Well, I posted a little earlier the information website that I believe is actually better quality than the BBC. It's called Reuters.com. Reuters is a news
Okay.
agency that started, in the 19th century. It's been going on for 150, 200 years. And
Excellent.
it's,
Reuters.
it's,
Okay,
it's
got
pretty neutral.
Okay,
very good.
Peter, how about you?
There's a website I have, a website called 1440 that I subscribed to about a month ago, which purports to just give you, bold facts with no spin. I've taken a
What
look
is
at
it
that.
called? What is it called again, Peter?
Is it 1440?
Dot what?
Yeah, I'd have to look for it, but
I'm sure if you search it in Google, you'll find it. How about Gary? Gary, what do you you consume?
I mostly watch Fox.
Fox. Okay, Fox. Joe, what do you normally watch?
I watch BBC, AP News, and I actually I haven't watched Reuters, but I do read a lot of Reuters.
Okay, and now we go to the ever lovely Miss Monica Mason. What about you?
My two would most likely be Reuters and PBS.
Excellent.
Now, myself, I don't watch a lot of the news. I do watch thirdsideconvo.com because I help produce it. So I watch that, and I do actually I like Candace Owens. I like how she works and operates, and I know she leans more.
Candace
on the right.
Owens of Fox and One American News.
I don't know if she's on Fox. I
I'm
watch
gonna
some of her.
check
She's a Prager.
That's
Prager-
fine.
Oh,
Prager
God.
show.
She was on Daily
I
Wire.
gotta fill my glass
Daily
back up.
Wire, yeah.
I watched her on Prager University. I found her on Prager University, and I learned a lot from her. And I thought she always had factual and very detailed information. But I know most of the time she doesn't lean very much to the right.
Hey, Ted, you don't show your emotions. You kind of hold
No
everything
boy
in.
just said
Was
everything.
it his
I needed to
comment on
know.
Prager
Michael
University?
wants to shoot me. Ted's got a thing on his face.
Oh my God.
I mean,
I like listening to podcasts.
Hey, he's coming around. It's
Rejected
okay.
look. That's what he's giving me. He's giving me that look.
It's okay. It's okay.
By the
We're
way,
all
the
learning
website
something.
is join1440.com.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Join1440.com.
Got it. All right, we'll try to make all those things available. I agree with
Didn't
you.
say
I've
that
heard
you
a lot
ran by the
recently.
Sisters of the
Reuters is
Confederacy?
very good.
I assume no one likes Ben Shapiro, right?
Oh my
nice,
God.
another one.
Jesus
Ah,
That all
Christ.
goes back to my grifting statement early on. Ben
Yeah.
Shapiro, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson,
all right.
Glenn
Yeah.
Beck.
Yeah.
These are grifters.
You can't take Alex Jones. You
These are
sure, Joe Boy?
performance
He's pretty
artists.
close to Candace.
Oh
These
my
are
Oh, really?
performance artists who changed their ideology with the wind because they saw where the money was.
They can make
easier to-
money. Yeah.
Right.
That's
They're
right.
paid. Jesus.
Famous line that David Letterman said to Bill O'Reilly once on his TV show. He said, Bill, I don't think you believe half the things you say. You say them just because you get a nice fat paycheck. And I think there's some truth in that.
Nice.
For all of them.
Probably true. All right, guys. So I think we've
Yeah.
come to it. If we start going in and comparing who we're listening to and everything else, boy, that'll jump in. But I think we proved the point. There's some things out there we could probably look at and get a little more together. Bill, you might have to do a little work on, getting back to Ted on that other thing, but I guess we'll just have to do it off camera. Y'all didn't get to totally finish there, that and Jeff, same thing. And we can do any of these conversations. We can continue. Drake's going to continue to not look at the news, so he'll probably be in a better shape mentally than we all will be.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be
I
happier.
do want to ask the question: is that who's watching the debate tonight? We're not going to talk about who's there. Is everybody watching the debate tonight?
Yes.
Anybody not watching the debate? Anybody? Peter, you're going to watch it?
no, I'm excused on nationality grounds.
Right.
Ah, there you go.
Perfect. All right, guys.
Oh.
Well, hey, thanks
Hey,
for the
Bob.
wrap up. Yes.
Bob, one last thing, and this ties into commercially. So downtown Danville has a really nice cigar store, and a regular group of guys show up on Saturday afternoon, and we watch sports and smoke cigars. So one guy, and these guys are avid cigar smokers. I said, Bill, that was his name. I go, Bill, do you ever use online sales to get your cigars? He goes, yeah. I go, where do you go? He said, I go to Corona Cigar Store in Orlando.
Yeah.
He talked about they don't charge shipping. He said you get a certain percentage back if you become a member and something else. So I know you're a member, Bob. So I'm still waiting for that box of double Corona if you can get them.
I know. But
Sponsored in part by Corona
did you
Cigar.
ever send me your address, Ted?
Yeah, so about 13 times.
Okay, I'll check. Not 13, I'll check. Oh, it was probably contained in one of those long emails describing something, right?
3,000 words, Bob. You got to
There you
find it
go.
in there.
All right. No, Bob's going to close us out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody have
We'll
an
see you guys.
incredible time. Do check out the new website. And if y'all
Right.
want to be on the shows, let me know. And the topics you want to talk about, I can always use help on that. And I couldn't do it without y'all. Thank you so much.
All right.
It's thirdsideconvo.com. Thirdsideconvo.com. And Joe Boy just got it up a couple days ago. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Good to see you all.
Bye.
Bye, guys.